If a kid says to a parent, a 10-year-old, okay, let's take a 10, let's take 12, it doesn't matter. Mom, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. Mom, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy.
Yep.
The reaction of a sane and decent society is, my darling, nature made you a boy. Or if they believe in God, God made you a boy, or both, God and nature. You are not a girl, you are a boy, and we're going to get you help. Obviously, there are other things going on in your life, which is almost always the case in these kids' lives. And look, how do you explain the 1,000% increase in trans kids in the last 5 years? It's a social phenomenon. This is not a medical phenomenon.
Well, I think that's sort of I have an answer for that, and it relates to the same question of where did all these gay people come from 15 years ago?
But gay people have not increased.
My understanding is that folks who say in surveys, I am gay, it has increased. I don't have the data in front of me. Okay.
Bisexuals have increased, and I have no doubt about that. But gay men have not increased. For gay men, it's a fixed. There's a certain percentage of males who will never be attracted to a female. It's sort of fixed in any given generation. When people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They believe in anything. And this trans movement is the proof. I said on Bill Maher's show 4 years ago, right before, you saw that? It's gone viral.
I saw it.
He said, oh, Trump lies. I said, this doesn't compare to the lies of the left. America is systemically racist and men menstruate. And he cracked up, the whole audience cracked up, and the whole panel cracked up. They were all laughing at me. And Bill Maher said, this is why it's gone viral. There are like 10 million views of this particular scene, where he says, Dennis, where'd you come up with that one? And that was 2019, the fall of 2019. And people go, what are you, nuts? Who says men menstruate? Within 2 years, if you denied men menstruate, you were considered transphobic. A male who said he's a female won in Canada 2 weeks ago, and he not only set records in the women's division, and I am saying he because I think he's a fraud, and a narcissist for hurting women like this. He lifted 250 pounds more than the first place woman. Right. I know you don't think that's fair, but on your side, the entire LGBTQ movement is unanimous in saying you're transphobic if you think that is wrong. Name me a sport where there is women sports where it doesn't make a difference.
Chess? Okay. On the first point, it's interesting to me to hear you say, if a 10-year-old said that, hey, we're going to get you some help, it sounds like you're talking about therapy. Every medical professional I've spoken to about this says the first line here in exploring this is therapy. So it does sound like you agree with the start of the path that has been established.
Yeah, but all of you can't even, I believe that there are therapists who could lose their license as a therapist if they say to a girl, I want to help you work out peace with the sex that you are. That I'm
not aware of that. I have to plead ignorance because I just don't know that. I don't know that. I know lots of therapists. None of them have mentioned that that's a part of the protocol.
All right, ask all the therapists you know.
I will.
And not as a challenge.
I'm curious.
Can a therapist say to a 12-year-old, you, in fact, you're a girl, and I'm going to help you work through your acceptance of that?
Fair.
Can a therapist say that?
I'm going to find out.
Get in trouble.
Dennis, I know you've got to run and that we're almost out of time. One just very last political thing. I'm curious. In 2016, you had said Trump was unfit to be a presidential candidate, let alone president. You've since, I've seen you endorse and defend many of his actions as president. What changed?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So people should know he was my last choice among all the Republican candidates for the nomination.
Yeah.
But once he was nominated, I believe, and we can obviously do this in a part two if you'd like, I believe that it is very important for the left not to have power because There's no example in history of the left, not liberals. I always make a distinction between left and liberal, where they have not suppressed dissent. My greatest fear is the suppression of free speech, because that ends everything. So if a Republican is nominated, I will support him. He turned out to be, in my opinion, a superb president. I'm not a fan of his.
Wow.
But by the way, it's a big distinction. I wrote 25 years ago. It's in my book, printed in 1998. It's called Adultery and Politicians, an essay I wrote. I don't care if a politician committed adultery. I see no linkage between fidelity and being a good president or a good senator. I am quite consistent on dividing between the macro and the micro in a public figure. King David not only committed adultery, and he's a hero of the Bible. He not only committed adultery, he had the guy killed so he could sleep with his wife.
Okay.
And that's pretty bad. No, my fight on this issue is not with the left. It's actually with many on the right who think that adultery disqualifies you from being a good leader. So I don't believe most people on the left think if you committed adultery, you can't be a good president.
No, I mean, I certainly don't believe that.
Right.
Yeah.
So ironically, it should resonate with your audience.